Members, greetings to all participants on the platform. As I can see, there are also civil society organizations on the platform who always keep in touch with what the committee and its subcommittees do. We really appreciate that, as well as South Africans would be following our proceedings in different ways. I will, honorable members, without waste of time, now that we know we do have a quorum to proceed, just to, as a way of opening, remind ourselves that in all its subcommittees, the National Assembly rules also apply, and this includes the virtual platforms rules that have been adopted for meetings in the virtual platform. Just to remind yourselves once again that we are expected to mute our mics if we're not speaking, switching off video cameras until we are recognized by the chairperson. In that case, you'll then open up your video camera as well as unmute your mic, and then proceed to speak as recognized by the chair. If you are experiencing connectivity challenges, you would indicate to the chairperson for permission to switch off the video camera so as to maximize your bandwidth. Of course, there will be situations where connectivity is disconnected and have to reconnect. This applies to all participants on the platform, that at all times when you reconnect to the meeting, ensure that your mic is muted and your video camera is off, so as to avoid background sounds that picked up that will distract the speaker that may be on the platform at the time. As point of orders would also apply as per the rules, you would be recognized first before you unmute your mic. In that score, then you would unmute your mic, raise the point of order for which the chairperson could rule upon. Honorable members, we are also advised not to raise unnecessary point of orders that could lead to the collapse of the meeting on this platform. Of course, if we keep to the rules, we should be able to have a smooth running meeting that completes its work on time. I do know that as we convene this subcommittee, other members may be traveling between villages and parliament. In that score, connectivity issues would arise. But we do hope that we would be able to be qualitative in our engagement, this being the first meeting of the subcommittee. So I would then, without a waste of time, as I said, you are really welcome. I'll just check for purposes of record if the apologies that have been received, and for us to put those on record. Mr. David.
Good morning, Chairperson, members, as well as colleagues. We have two apologies, Chair. Ms. Kopeka, who's of sick, Mr. Pambo, who's traveling, as well as Ms. Majos is traveling at the moment, so is unable to attend the meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so those are the apologies, but like I said, we have the necessary quorum to proceed. So in that score to be able to proceed. As we proceed, you would then be able to indicate the short agenda would be dealing with today. Right, so would be considering like I said, that item needed to come to the subcommittee directly because we have the subcommittee already in place. As you know, honorable members, we are to deal with the appointment process for the board. We therefore need to consider and adopt a program. And I will take it that will also be taken through on just the process itself as it gets to be by content advisors, as well as at least by end of the meeting, that we were able to get a sense that members would receive the list of those that have been nominated to be candidates, so as to be able to work on that as we would be preparing for the next stage. I would now request that you put up the program, but I thought maybe before we do that, at least we get the sense of the process so that when we adopt the program, we must seek to achieve that. I'm not sure if from the side of content advisors, if there's anything that they would want to raise at this point before we actually flag the program.
If I may, Chair, it's Jacob Medupi.
Okay, Mr. Dube.
My camera is not working fine, Chair. If you were to apologize, to forgive me on that one. In terms of the actual process, Chair, the intention is to, a first sitting, as outlined, the first sitting of the subcommittee, which is planned for Thursday, as the schedule, has indicated, and I'm sure that would be, flighted as soon as I'm done. The plan is to really to outline a full process in the form of a short presentation on Thursday, but in a nutshell, a very high level, business process in terms of, what would be, followed during the interview process. It would be actual short listing. It would be the qualification checks, state security, the vetting process on state security matters. Public participation process would also be undertaken. The actual interview process will also be outlined as part of a presentation, on Thursday. Deliberation, on the whole interview process, and the National Assembly adoption. But that, we are in the process of, given the fact that we, just, recently adopted the time frame and the actual dates, in terms of how the actual interviews are going to be panning out. We are, as part of the Thursday's meeting, going to, formalize the actual presentation, very brief one, on Thursday, just to, to guide the members in terms of the entire process on how this, I'm going to pan out until the final, appointment of the, the 12 members. I hope that suffices, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Medupi. As you know, Dr. Medupi is one of the content advisors that have recently joined the committee. As you know, we've always had Mr. Malika Alonso. They are now both content advisors to the committee. Would then request Ms. Daveni to flag the program so that members could then input on the program before we get to actual adoption. Honorable Kolabanat, I see your hand.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, obviously we've received this, and it looks like a packed program that should work, hopefully. I have one or two issues. The interviews themselves, that would be on the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. I'm concerned that they're being done virtually. What would be the reason for that? I've just personally gone through the JSCI interviews for the Inspector General of Intelligence. They were all done live. They're open to the public, obviously. So I'm very concerned. I don't think one gets the same feel for an interviewee if they're done on the screen. So I'd like some sort of explanation for that, if that has been a decision that someone has taken somewhere. Also, if I may ask at this stage, could someone please send me the advertisement that was flighted, and also the full list of candidates, so I can start doing my own homework. Thank you very much. Oh, there is one other issue. On Tuesday, the 13th, which is set aside for interviews, I see. Tuesday the 13th, you only start at 6 o'clock in the evening. Never mind, it doesn't matter. It's no longer relevant. Thank you.
No, Honorable Colabarant, there are two sets there in terms of time on that Tuesday. There's 9 to 1, and then get to the House, proceed 18 hours to 21 hours. So you can raise the point you wanted to raise there.
Yeah. I just have a declaration that I had to make, but I see we are in the sitting. So the times for the interviews fall outside the time of the sitting. So my concern falls away. I do beg your pardon for raising it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. There was a voice at the back, but I was trying to check the name if there's a hand up.
Hi, Chairperson, I don't see any other hand.
Okay. I take it that, honorable members, the program is a proposal. And I would want to also say that from experience with us, the virtual interviews have worked because people reached at any given time. And of course, the costs that go with that in terms of getting candidates to a particular venue and the logistics that go with that. So we would have taken advantage of what technology presents as a way of doing work in our times. And as I say, it would have not been a problem, because the public is still able to follow as these get to be also streamed live, including on the parliamentary channel. I'm saying probably that's what would have informed the proposal put before the subcommittee. But like I said, the adoption of the program is that of the subcommittee. What is before the subcommittee is a draft, and it will then become program once we are done. I think as it relates to the list, like I said, once we have adopted the program, we should be able to get going in terms of receiving the list to start working on. So I think that's really that. May I just check if there's any other member who would want to make a contribution regarding the program?
Chairperson?
Yes, honorable member.
Yeah, no, I think
Honorable Lala, yes.
I don't have a problem with the program as it's stipulated. The only challenge I have is that in terms of the vetting process, and will it be done after the interviews, or has it already been done? Just for my information, if I missed something.
I'm not sure from the content advisors, before maybe one come in, if you would want to speak to that point.
If I may, Chair, I'm sorry, my hand is raising of my hand is not working. It's Jacob again. Given that the time constraint, Chair, we given that the fact that the current board, the last date is the 15th of October, and the program it's quite congested, for the interview processes. We thought that as soon as the names have been shortlisted, then the vetting process would kick in almost immediately, parallel to the interview process. So that undertaking has not been done as yet, but it would kick in as soon as the names have been shortlisted, and then we can start with the actual vetting process. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Mdubi. And I'm sure that point has now been clarified, Honorable Mlala, that we would not shortlist we would not be vetting the list that we would receive, but the shortlisted candidates would be the ones that you'd look at vetting parallel to our processes continuing, so that we minimize the risk of having people at the stage of appointment that they still have pending reports in terms of that vetting process. So I take it to be clear now.
Chairperson, I do have a question.
Yes, Honorable Kolabana.
Chairperson, if I might ask Dr. Madupi to explain what level of clearance the members of the board have to have. I do know, because I sit on the JSCI, that top secret security clearance is a very long and arduous process. Our one member took 8 months. So and while I understand this is possible, it could be expedited, I am fearful that in the 2 weeks that we're given for the final deliberations, that process may not actually be completed timeously. But it may be that they need a lower level of clearance. Perhaps the doctor could explain for us. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Mdubi, do you want to clarify?
If I may, Chair, thank you very much, Chair. If I may, I think on that score, Chair, given that Mr. Malike has done a bit of working as far as that process is concerned, and I'm not too sure if you could then come in, given the fact that I've recently myself started in July, and some of those things I'm yet to to sort of get a grip on. May I then request that Mr. Malike, if he can assist in that score, if that's all in order, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. Thank you, Dr. Mdupi. The first point I would like to clarify, Honorable Chair, is that as is the norm, we never vet all the whole list of applicants. We usually start the vetting process post the shortlisting. And the way it's done is that because, as is the case, we usually publish the names of the shortlisted people. So it's a parallel process that we do where we actually take the shortlisted names and give to HR. HR has its own subcontractors that deal with, for instance, vetting of the qualifications. And SSA, which has always been quite proactive in assisting us, knowing the pressure that we have, they do the vetting in as far as criminal records and so forth. I don't have the actual grade as the honorable member had said, but I know that SSA does the actual, composite vetting of all the nominees that are tabled before them. And it's usually, well, I think that's because Mr. Ngoma had some connections, I don't know, but we would usually get it within the 2 weeks that we prescribe to them. So we'll have to really try to see if we can get a contact, or to see if we can expedite that matter within the SSA. But it's safe to say that they're usually quite responsive and timeously so in assisting us to make sure that vetting happens on time. And it usually happens even before we finish the interviews. That all depends. Some individuals, you find it takes longer because SSA has to dig further, but most of the time it becomes quicker. And with the qualifications check, it's usually a foregone conclusion that they do it quite quick. The HR people we have in Parliament. I hope that clarifies it, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Mdupi and Mr. Malika. I take it that the clarities that the honorable member would have wanted would have been clarified. It may not be the top secret vetting, which would take its own time. Perhaps that's more of lower level. But of course, because you've also asked for the advert being new in the committee, I think that should be also forwarded to you together with the list. I would say that you would notice it in the advert that there are 2 vetting processes that are referred to. First being this one that would be done, and in the mid-term of the board, you do the same. Of course, that may be deeper, including lifestyle audits that gets done in the entities. This is part of the committee's contribution in responding to what the Seed Capture Commission would have raised about us as Parliament also playing a role in ensuring that there's clean government in a way. So you would get that in the advert as well as the list itself. But honorable members, as you would know, any program remains a living document which from time to time may need adjustments given material conditions at the time. So if there may be issues that come up, at least the subcommittee is empowered to assess its program and look at better ways of delivery. Of course, the program takes into account the work that needs to be done in Parliament, but also some requests received from members, Honorable Kolabanat being one of those members who would have requested that there would have been prior engagements in the beginning, I think, of October or so, and will therefore not be readily available to serve in the committee. The intention is really to keep the committee together up to finality. So everything else has been done to accommodate all those different challenges. And I would say, let's give it a try and make the program work within the timelines we have, of course, with the necessary support that we need to get. So can I then have formally a mover for adoption of the program with that understanding, and the seconder, so that at least having adopted the program, we can then release the documentation that is needed for members to apply their minds in preparing for the other meeting.
I move, Chair.
Honorable Kolabanat moves. Can I get a seconder?
I second, Chair.
Honorable James seconds. So I take that the program has been agreed to and will therefore be able to communicate accordingly. Can the committee support confirm what will be sent to members and how they will access what gets sent to the members post this meeting, or I officially adjourn the meeting?
Thank you, Chairperson. Shortly, Chair, I will send the members the link with which they will access the CVs. And I'll also send the summaries of the CVs. And as requested by Honorable Kola Barnard, I will also send the copy of the advert that was published. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. David. I'm sure honorable members, you hear that if there are challenges in accessing the link and so on, you would be able to make contacts with community support, in this case, Ms. Dabeni, and we take it from there. That having been said, you can just unshare now that the program has been adopted. So I take it, honorable members, that we've now adopted the program. Like I said, if you need assistance in accessing the documents, if you are having difficulties, do engage with the committee support for that assistance. It's unless there's no other member who would want to raise any matter in what has been raised by committee support, I would really want to close from there. Is there any member? On my side, I don't see any.
Yes, Chair, I don't see any other hand as well.
Okay, thank you. Honorable members, then this takes us to the end of our meeting, first meeting of the subcommittee on the appointment process for the SABC board. I hope we would indeed try to keep to the program, deliver on what we had communicated to society, that it is not the intention of the committee to have interim arrangements post the expiry of the board's term, but that there is better transition between the new board and the existing board of the SABC. With that, this meeting is now officially adjourned until we meet in the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay, Makasonge, bye-bye.
Yes. Thanks, Mulala. Must come to get